All right. Good evening and welcome, everyone. If you will please stand and remain standing after the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, we will be singing the national anthem performed by Lillian Michael. The invocation will be held by Pastor Jose Morales from Hibernia Baptist Church. Are you okay.
Almighty God, we come before you tonight with thankfulness and gratitude for the opportunity to gather to serve this local community. We're grateful for the opportunity to serve the families, the children of Clay County, to pray for wisdom as we seek to do that well. Father, I pray now specifically for the members, the school board, give them wisdom, give them understanding, give them patience, clarity as they seek to lead the county schools well. May the knowledge and well-being of the students and be the forefront and priority of what they seek to accomplish here tonight. Finally, Lord, we pray for your protection over our schools, protection over our teachers, protection over our students, protection over our faculty. For all of this, in the name that is above all names, the powerful name of Jesus Christ. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's bright glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
What a blessing that was. You have a beautiful voice. At this time, I'm going to call to order the school board meeting for June 25th, 2026. Welcome, citizens of Clay County. I want to take the opportunity to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend tonight's school board meeting. This meeting is our opportunity as your elected representatives to collaborate openly and make decisions that will decide the future direction of our public schools and the education of our children here in Clay County. If you wish to address the board on an agenda item, there will be an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Please fill out a card located in the side entry door indicating the specific item number or topic you wish to speak about and turn it in promptly to one of our officers. If you have items that you would like to present to the school board or superintendent, please hand them to an officer who will distribute them accordingly. Speakers who wish to address specific agenda items will be heard following the recognitions and awards portion of the meeting. Speakers wishing to address non-agenda items will be heard following the adoption of the consent agenda. No additional cards will be accepted once the board moves to public comment section under presentation from the audience. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. Up first, we have the recognitions and awards portion of these board meeting. So we have Miss Brenda Trotman, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, recognizing the 2025-2026 retirees.
All right. Is it on? Okay. Good evening, board, and good evening, superintendent, and good evening, everyone. This is always our favorite time of year when we get to recognize those who have spent so much time in our school district. You're going to see on there, I'm not going to spoil it for you, the total number of years that we are recognizing tonight. And people that have served 30 years, more than 30 years, and we have one who served one. They had another job, but there was someone who had retired from their other position and they wanted a year of service with our kids. So we celebrate them also. So whether it's 1 to 40, this is to honor them. It's just a small token of our appreciation. I have to thank my HR team for putting it together. So I hope you enjoy.
Thank you to our amazing teachers. That's a lot of years of service up there. Up next, we have the America 250th celebration recognition of our social studies teachers of the year, Miss Mary Owen, K through 12 social studies specialist, and Rachel, sorry about this, Holmgren, K through 12 social studies coach.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Broski. I'm very excited to be here tonight as we celebrate America's semi-quincentennial to share how our social studies programs help support the development of citizens as envisioned by our founding fathers, and to recognize some of our amazing award-winning social studies teachers. Social studies instruction begins in kindergarten and continues all the way through 12th grade. While some social studies content is grade level specific, some strands like civics and government continue to build throughout our students' K-12 educational experience. As we honor our country's upcoming 250th birthday, let's take a look at civics instruction. Specifically. So our students in kindergarten through 2nd grade will learn about the foundations of government, what makes a good citizen, and patriotic holidays and symbols. While our students in 3rd through 5th grade will learn about the structure and function of government, the founding documents, like the Declaration and the Constitution, and ways citizens can participate in government. Our middle and high school students continue building on their elementary foundations to learn about the influences on the founding of our government, like ancient Rome and the Enlightenment, and the democratic principles that they inspired. Students also begin to learn about how the government protects and limits rights, as well as landmark court cases related to those safeguards and limitations, as well as the United States' role in foreign policy. Students continue to learn about the responsibilities and obligations that come along with citizenship, including voting and elections. So no matter the grade level, the one common thread that connects our K-12 social studies courses is the use of primary source analysis. So I'd like to share a few lesson examples that we might see in our classrooms across the district that have students engaging with primary sources. So in this 2nd grade lesson, students will read about and have an opportunity to explore the Constitution. In this 5th grade lesson, students are going to analyze the grievances section of the Declaration so that they can have a better understanding of why the founding fathers thought that the only option left was to cut ties with Great Britain. In this middle school civics lesson, and you'll notice how those benchmarks just keep getting larger and larger, a little more specific as we move up in grade levels. So in this middle school civics lesson, after reading about the different Enlightenment era documents that influenced the founding fathers, like the Magna Carta and the English Bill of Rights, students will analyze excerpts from each of those documents to put them in their own words. Then they'll pull out big ideas like self-government and individual rights, the same big ideas that are found in the documents that inspired our Declaration and our Constitution. In this high school government lesson, students will read a quote from Benjamin Franklin's perspective to gain insight into the compromises needed in order to ratify the Constitution, because not everybody was on board with making that change. In addition to these sample lessons, our K-12 students have a variety of opportunities to engage with primary sources, from our document-based questions or DBQs to our history labs, primary source projects. These resources provide our students with the opportunity to dig deeper into historical documents and sources so that they can explore multiple perspectives. Founders Week is another opportunity for our students to explore primary sources with a focus on the Declaration and the Constitution specifically. So this year, our Founders Week theme will be 250 years of the American experiment, preserving the promise. So during this time, students will participate in activities that bridge the Declaration's promise of liberty and equality with the Constitution's framework to preserve and achieve it. This helps our students to remember that every generation plays a part in building a more perfect union. We are so thankful to be a part of a county with local government and community partners that just jump at the chance to support civics engagement amongst our students. We're very proud of the partnerships that we have built as these groups have helped to provide many hands-on learning experiences for not just our students, but also for our teachers as well. So for the past 4 years, Green Cove Junior has partnered with the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services to host a naturalization ceremony for new citizens. I believe many of you guys have attended that as well. Not a dry eye in sight, including mine. This ceremony, sponsored by the Green Cove Junior Social Studies Department, helps to bring our benchmarks on citizenship to life for our civic students. Those civic students also have the opportunity to play a role in the ceremony by introducing the new citizens to the audience. In addition to the ceremony, the Clay Supervisor of Elections is on site to help these new citizens register to vote in elections, which is another important benchmark that is taught in civics. And speaking of our local Supervisor of Elections office, each year representatives visit our high schools to support our voter registration drives. This is an opportunity for us to pre-register and register our 11th and 12th graders to vote. And every 2 years, during both the general election and the midterm elections, our district participates in a mock election that is sponsored by Double Click Democracy. This program, which is partnered with the Florida State Association of Supervisors of Elections, is used in schools across Florida. Mock elections help prepare students to be informed, thoughtful, and engaged citizens. We know voting continues to be one of the most important ways to shape our democracy. We annually team up with our Clerk of Courts and the Clay Archives to host an in-service day session for our social studies teachers. During this session, teachers explore the historic triangle and visit the courthouse to sit down for a Q&A session with a judge to discuss some of the Supreme Court cases within our curriculum. Many of our teachers have also taken their students to visit the courthouse and the historic triangle, and Clerk Green has visited many of our secondary schools during Founders Week to talk about the role the courts and juries play in our justice system. The Clay Archives has helped to provide resources to support instruction on local history, especially during Clay History Week, which is at the end of May. In fact, the wonderful display in the back that you it was very hard to miss, was actually designed and loaned to us tonight by the Clay Archives. We have also partnered with them to bring their annual displays to our local schools, such as the Blue Angel display that you see on the screen. We brought that one to Oakleaf about 2 years ago because through research, it was discovered that out in Oakleaf was a training field for the Blue Angels a very long time ago. All right. Our social studies teachers are content and instructional experts in their field, but they are always looking for opportunities to hone their craft through professional learning opportunities. So just to give you some stats for our small but mighty department in social studies, we have provided social studies teachers with almost 30 professional development or learning opportunities this year, and have provided over 300 hours of individual and team coaching support. We've also had over 400 Clay teachers complete the Civic Seal of Excellence endorsement, which is sponsored by the Florida Department of Education. 7 of those teachers were recognized by Governor DeSantis after being in the first cohort to complete the 50-hour course. So we're very proud to also mention that over the past 11 years, we have had 8 social studies teachers win social studies awards at the state level as well. So with all of the amazing things happening in our social studies classrooms, it's no wonder that the Clay County social studies scores have been a state leader in social studies education. We continue to see a steady increase in our state assessment scores in civics and in U.S. history. So those are tested in middle school and high school. And this year, our civic scores were 9 points above the state average, while our U.S. history scores were 8 points above the state average. Our rockstar teachers and students have led to Clay consistently being ranked in the top 3 out of 67 counties in Florida when it comes to overall social studies proficiency, something we're very, very proud of. All right, so I'd like to switch gears now so that we can highlight some of our fantastic teachers. So each year, the Florida Council for Social Studies provides us with the opportunity to recognize outstanding social studies teachers. Superintendent Broski once again invited our teachers, our administrators, parents, students to nominate social studies teachers who inspire creativity, passion, and civic mindedness within our students. Tonight, we're going to recognize 6 teachers who were selected for the following award categories: Warren Tracy Beginning Teacher, Excellence in Teaching History, Clay Civics Champion, and Outstanding Social Studies Teacher for elementary, junior high, and high school. I'd like to pause so that our teachers who are being recognized can go ahead and come on up front. You guys can go ahead and line up right here. All right, it is an honor to introduce you to the exceptional educators who were selected. We'd like to start by recognizing our Warren Tracy Beginning Social Studies recipient, Mr. Richard Montgomery, who is a second-year civics teacher at Lakeside Junior High. He's unable to be here tonight, but he was nominated based on his outstanding ability to bring civics to life using his military and law enforcement background, his talent for making complex concepts accessible for all learners while maintaining high expectations, as well as his student success on the end-of-course exam. His administrator and colleagues also highlighted his magnetic positive energy and strong partnership he has with families. We are very lucky to have him in Clay. All right, next we'd like to recognize Mr. Colin Markham, who's an AP Social Studies teacher from Middleburg High School, as our Excellence in Teaching History recipient. Mr. Markham was nominated by many of his students and their parents based on his incredible passion for history and his ability to bring the subject to life through creative, interactive lessons and hands-on activities, which sometimes include dressing up in character. Many of his students appreciate how he moves beyond the textbook to inspire genuine curiosity, replacing standard lectures with engaging discussions that help students connect past events to the modern world. Mr. Markham, your dynamic teaching style and dedication have not only prepared your students to succeed on the AP exam, but have also fostered a classroom environment that honor our outstanding social studies teachers in the elementary, junior high, and high school divisions. First is Ms. Christy Dunn, who is a 6th grade world history teacher at Charles E. Bennett and was nominated by students and colleagues based on the remarkable passion, enthusiasm, and energy she brings to her classroom. What stood out in her nomination was her creative, hands-on history projects, such as having students craft their own ancient Egyptian sarcophaguses. Above all, she was celebrated for leading with immense compassion, patience, and integrity, creating a safe environment where students know that she truly cares about them. Ms. Dunn, thank you for sharing your passion for history and your kindness with your students. Next, our outstanding junior high social studies teacher is Mr. Kevin Crawford from Orange Park Junior High. Nominated by his colleagues and administrator for his exceptional classroom management and deep commitment to student growth, Mr. Crawford is known as a data guru who uses targeted instruction and individual data chats to drive remarkable results. His nominators mentioned his incredible campus leadership, his work as a hospital homebound teacher, and his use of language accessible strategies to ensure that every student has a seat at the table. Above all, he fosters a positive school culture by sending home weekly updates and hundreds of positive postcards to ensure that every family feels valued. Mr. Crawford, thank you for making social studies accessible and engaging for all of your learners at Orange Park. Next, we'd like to recognize outstanding high school social studies teacher, Mr. Joshua Haley from Clay High School. Nominated by his students and parents, Mr. Haley successfully leads rigorous ACE and dual enrollment courses by using primary sources and connecting history to modern topics like the Artemis II mission. That was mentioned specifically. His nominators praised his dedication to extensive after-school tutoring, while his students celebrated him for his immense grace, responsive support, and for creating a fun, encouraging environment filled with laughter and apparently lots of snacks. Mr. Haley, thank you for your compassion and dedication to teaching social studies. And finally, the Clay Civics Champion Award celebrates teachers who have encouraged civic mindedness in their students through their dedication to teaching and inspiring the next generation of civic leaders. We are excited to recognize Ms. Amanda Conley as the recipient of this award. As a civics teacher in the STEAM program at Lake Asbury Junior High, Ms. Conley has long been a champion of civic engagement, finding new ways to connect classroom learning to real-world experiences. Nominated by her colleagues for her profound compassion and ability to maintain an empowering yet rigorous classroom environment, Ms. Conley is a master of using cross-curricular project-based learning. As a military veteran, she uniquely infuses her civics lessons with patriotism, real-world experience, and immense opportunities like hosting guest astronauts and coordinating historic field trips. Through it all, she serves as her students' biggest cheerleader, inspiring them to use their voices to better their community. Ms. Conley, thank you for your deep commitment to civic education. Thank you. We are so proud of these teachers and their commitment to social studies education and the students of Clay County. They are a part of what makes social studies education in Clay County so great. Let's give them all one more round of applause. Mr. Broski would love to get a picture with you.
Thank you, Ms. Owen, for that presentation and for highlighting how we use local government and community partners to provide experiences that engage our students as young citizens. We would like to thank the Clay County Archives for providing the America 250 display panels located in the back of the room. We encourage everyone to take a few minutes to view the exhibit this evening after the conclusion of this meeting. Next, we have a proclamation on this evening's agenda recognizing the America 250 semi-quincentennial, marking 250 years of the United States of America. Whereas on July 4th, 2026, the United States of America will mark the historic milestone of its 250th anniversary of independence, a monumental celebration known as the semi-quincentennial. Whereas Clay County District Schools holds a deep and enduring commitment to fostering patriotism, civic responsibility, and profound appreciation for the founding principles of liberty, democracy, and equality. And whereas our educators and schools proudly celebrate the spirit of America all year, every year by teaching the rich history of our nation, instilling the values of citizenship, and preparing the next generation to uphold the ideals of our constitutional republic. And whereas the American 250 milestone offers a unique and historic opportunity for our students, staff, families, and the broader Clay County community to reflect on our shared history, honor the diverse contributions of those who shared our country, and look forward with hope to our future. And whereas on the 25th day of June, we gather as a community adorned in our nation's colors and united in pride to launch our local education community's reflection and celebration of this great milestone. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Aaron Skipper, Chair of the School Board of Clay County, Florida, alongside my fellow board members and superintendent, do hereby proclaim our school district's full and enthusiastic support for the America 250 celebration, and urge all students, educators, staff, and citizens of Clay County to join us in honoring the history of our great country, demonstrating our pride in the semi-quincentennial year and reaffirming our dedication to the ideals that unite us as Americans. Duly adopted and approved by the School Board of Clay County, Florida, this 25th day of June 2026. At this time, I would like to invite the board to gather for a photograph to commiserate the signing of the America 250 proclamation. Words are hard. I still can't. Commemorate. Let me try that again. I apologize. Up next, we have presentations, and we are going to start with Mr. Matt Boyack, Director of Safety and Security, for our quarterly presentation of Office of Safe Schools data.
Superintendent, honorable school board members, and members of the Clay County community. In accordance with Section 1001.212.13c Florida statutes, I am presenting the quarterly report from the Office of Safe Schools. This report identifies the number and percentage of schools, including charter schools, inspected or re-inspected during the quarter, as well as the percentage of those schools found to have no school safety requirement deficiencies. For the fourth quarter of the 25-26 school year, no Clay County school district or charter schools were inspected or re-inspected by the Office of Safe Schools. Although there were no inspections during this quarter, I would like to recognize the outstanding work of our schools through the 25-26 school year. During this year, 12 schools were inspected by the Office of Safe Schools, representing 27% of all district and charter schools. Of those 12 schools, 10 were found to have absolutely no school safety requirement deficiencies during their initial inspection, resulting in an 83% initial compliance rate. The remaining 2 schools were subsequently re-inspected and achieved a compliance with no school safety requirement deficiencies, resulting in a 100% final compliance rate. These results reflect the commitment, vigilance, and attention to detail demonstrated each day by our principals, teachers, support staff, and district safety personnel. Safe schools are not created through a single inspection. They are built through a consistent adherence to procedures, strong partnerships, and shared commitment to protecting our students and staff. I would also like to thank the superintendent and school board for your continued leadership and support. Your investment in school safety allows Clay County District Schools not only to meet the expectations established by the state of Florida, but to continually strengthen the systems, training, and practices that help ensure every school remains a safe place to learn and work. Thank you, and stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Boyack. Up next, we have our student speaker, Mr. Sean St. Vilas of Ridgeview High School.
All right. Good evening, board members, Superintendent Broski, and guests. My name is Sean St. Vilas, and I am honored to serve as the Florida FBLA state reporter and represent Clay County Schools. Today, I'm not here just here to talk about CTSOs. I'm here to show you why Clay County is entering a new renaissance of student leadership, career readiness, and statewide achievement. Some of you in the room may be wondering what a CTSO is and why do CTSOs matter? Well, a CTSO is a career and technical student organization, which is designed as an extension of our career and technical education program. They matter because they take what students learn in the classroom and turn it into real confidence, real leadership, and real career preparation through the competitions they provide. In Clay County, we have over 11,000 CTE students, 35 CTE programs, and more than 2,500 industry certifications. But mostly behind every number is a student learning how to lead, compete, serve, speak professionally, and prepare for life after graduation. And today, we'll highlight 3 of those organizations making their mark in Clay County. Now to start off this program that is like home to me, FBLA, or the Future Business Leaders of America, is where I've personally seen leadership come alive. Across Clay County, more than 20 students have qualified at the state level. Over 10 have represented us nationally in the past decade, and 2 Clay County students have been elected to Florida FBLA state officer. I'm honored to be one of them as being our 2026 to 2027 state reporter, the first Clay County student to serve as a Florida FBLA state officer in over half a decade. We also celebrate local teacher in District 27, Miss Brenda Kirkland, who was honored as the 2025 Florida FBLA Advisor of the Year after 36 years of service in the organization. FBLA is preparing students to lead in business, in their communities, and in life. And for many of us, it has truly become our ticket to success. I am so honored and incredibly privileged to be a part of an organization that is dedicated to service, community, and business, and cannot wait to see what's in store for FBLA in this next renaissance of Clay County CTSOs. FFA is a prime example that Clay County students are not just participating, they are achieving at the highest level in CTSOs. McKenna Ladd became a state champion in ornamental horticulture production. Isabella Perkins earned 4th place in marketing, and Taylor Green reached the top 12 in employment skills. We also had star finalists like Tyler Brock and Maggie Mosley, showing the depths of talent across our county. With 7 active chapters and $28,000 in scholarships awarded to Clay County youth exhibitors at the Clay County Agriculture Fair, FFA is proving that agriculture education is still shaping leaders, careers, and future. I would list off every accomplishment that FFA has done in the past couple of years, but that would take us all day. But there's clearly no doubt that those students are getting the best experience out of their organization, and this next renaissance of the CTSOs will cultivate more of these champions they have been providing. TSA, or Technology Student Association, is another example of Clay County CTSO excellence. Lake Asbury Junior High and Middleburg High represented our district at the Florida TSA State Conference, competing against more than 2,000 students from across the state. Clay County brought home 6 top 7 finishes, including 1st place in career prep, 2nd in electrical applications and tech bowl, 3rd in flight, 6th in biotechnology, and 7th in inventions and innovations. That is STEM leadership and problem solving and innovation happening right here in our schools. And again, like with FFA, there is certainly no doubt that the next renaissance of CTSO will prepare my fellow students to be equipped with real-world knowledge and help make their mark on the rising technology industry. And the momentum doesn't stop with FBLA, FFA, and TSA. Across Clay County, FCCLA, Skills USA, and HOSA are helping students grow in family sciences, trades, technical skills, healthcare, service, and leadership. Middleburg High School even produced a state president in FCCLA, and our HOSA chapters in Middleburg, Ridgeview, and Clay continue to grow in participation and state qualification success. These organizations give students a real place to discover their gifts, develop confidence, and connect their education to real careers. So my question to my school board members is, are you ready for the next renaissance of our CTSOs that will be bigger, better, and more accomplished than this insanely accomplished year we had? I'm saying this chapter in student achievement in these programs was the warm-up, because we have entered the renaissance of accomplishment that we have never seen before. Clay County CTSOs are not just clubs, they're pathways to confidence, leadership, service, competition, scholarships, careers, and success beyond high school. So today, I not only extremely thank you, but ask for your continued support, investment, and belief in what students can become when they are given the right opportunities. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you for investing in us, encouraging us, and helping create spaces where students can rise. Before I let you go, I want to say one thing. The future of CTSOs in Clay County is not just a goal, but is a testament to what is possible for us students through Clay County. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, for your leadership and for coming up and speaking to the board. We as a board love our CTE programs, and I say quite often I am a product of our CTE programs with HOSA and my husband being in Skills USA, and they do provide pathways and success beyond high school. So thank you for that. I think we as a board, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but I feel like I can on this topic, we will continue to fight for our CTE programs. Yes, sir. Thank you. At this time, this is the last call for comment cards. We will not be taking any further comment cards after this moment. We are going to take presentations from the audience for a specific agenda item, and that one is Mr. Mark Levine. Did I say that correct? Yeah, okay. You can come to the microphone, and just remember you have 3 minutes and to state your address.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Superintendent, my name is Mark Levine. I'm with the firm of Levine and Stivers in Tallahassee, Florida. You have an agenda item, an HR item regarding one of my clients as it respects the district matter and potential termination. As you all are aware, he's been charged with a number of serious crimes. There's no doubt about that. The fact that he's been disqualified pursuant to Chapter 435, which if you know anything about 435, you know it's a nightmare to try to get through and waltz through. Bottom line is, though, the superintendent has suggested to you that under Section C of 435, that termination is the appropriate remedy today. I'm here to suggest to you that termination is not the appropriate remedy today, but you should go to subsection B. There is no chance that this gentleman is going to come back into this school district in any position until a complete and total resolution of all of the matters pending in the criminal courts are taken care of. If we go to subsection C, as the superintendent suggests, that is going to cost you money, and it's going to cost me time and money, because I will have to deal with the issue of getting a hearing that's going to be postponed continuously because it cannot be resolved without disposition of the criminal charges. Now, he has also not been given the opportunity to have his predetermination meeting. Now, I know that Ms. Trotman has offered to go to the jail and do a PDM at the jail. Well, I would ask you, if I was representing you and you were sitting in the jail and your employer wanted to do a PDM with you at the jail and I consented to it, would you not want to go get another lawyer? I mean, that's just not realistic in our world. You can't trust what goes on at the jail. So I'm down to 1 minute. So I would tell you that I've handled 2 similar cases in the past couple of 3 years where charges were made. One of those cases was actually totally dismissed, and the other wound up with a pretrial probation. Now, so I don't know what's going to go on in a criminal case. I don't do criminal law anymore. This is what I do. You've seen me here over the years, and I'm going to continue to do it. All I'm suggesting to you is not let the gentleman back in. He's not going to come back in. He's already disqualified. However, termination is early in this case. Just don't terminate so we don't have to go spend all this money. I mean, as a supporter like you of public education, I think I have an understanding of what tight budgets each of our school districts have. I presume you don't have a lot of money. I thank you, and I implore you to do that.
Thank you. At this time, I am going to move on to, we have no HR actions under the discussion items, but I'm going to move on to D3, where we have a public hearing to approve as advertised revisions to the Student Code of Conduct. So at this time, I'm going to open the public hearing. And if you would like to come and speak about the Code of Conduct, which would be Ms. Patricia Schaefer and Miss Shannon Hubie. And if there's anybody else, please just line up behind the microphone. And you will get 3 minutes. Make sure you state your name and your address, please.
Good evening, Patricia Schaefer. My address is on file. First, thank you for splitting up the Code of Conduct into 2 separate books. And giving us the opportunity to speak. My first concern is the elementary one. It's 80 pages long. You're dealing with children from K through 5th grade at some schools, K through 6 at others. Is the material written in an English language that these children can read and comprehend? Because it's called the Student Code of Conduct. So is it at their grade level? And if it's not, is there going to be direct teaching during instructional time to actually go over the Student Code of Conduct and break it down so every student, including ESE students, can understand and comprehend what their expectations are and what they're being held to? I have a couple other concerns. One is under the dress code. I think it's on page, I'm not sure what page it's on, but it's under 2.5. Dress code. The language states that a principal can make stricter guidelines regarding dress code. Well, parents are currently shopping for students for school. Money's tight for everyone. You know, you have a dress code, kids show up, first day of school, and a principal decides that they want to change something within their school or hold it more accountable. That's unfair to the parents and the student, and that gives too much leeway. If you've got 2 children who attend 2 different schools, there should be continuity between schools. Also, holding ESE children to work refusal is going to be a referral. There's a list of them. There is nothing in here that protects children that have IEPs or 504s. Where are our English language learners and their families allowed to print off this code of conduct in their language and access it in their language? There's so many issues with these codes of conduct. Please, I implore you as a board to take your time. Give parents access to the data. Let us have input in this so we can meet together. We want safe schools. We want our kids held accountable,
Thank
but
you,
be
Ms.
fair
Schaefer.
about it. Thank you.
Ms. Hubie.
Good evening. My name is Shannon Hubie, and my address is on file. I am speaking tonight about both the elementary and secondary student code of conduct drafts for the 26-27 school year. I appreciate that the district separated the code into 2 documents and attempted to make the language easier for families to read. I also appreciate the added language around MTSS, PBIS, progressive behavior supports, and discipline procedures for students with disabilities. My concern is not whether we need a code of conduct. Of course we do. My concern is whether the board and public have enough information to responsibly approve the revisions tonight. The agenda states that the code is updated annually based on statutory requirements and discipline data profiles. If discipline data drove these changes, that data should be available before approval. Families should be able to see what trends were identified, which school or grade levels were impacted, and whether the data was reviewed by disability status, ESE, 504, race, sex, and other groups. I also want to raise a practical concern about accessibility. If students are expected to follow this code, what is the district's plan to teach it in a student-friendly way? An 80-page elementary document, an 83-page secondary document are not realistically accessible to many students or families without summaries, lessons, or plain language guidance. That concern becomes even more important when we know a significant number of students are not reading on grade level. If the district is to hold students accountable to this code, then the district also has a responsibility to make sure students can actually understand it. I am also concerned with the category action chart that was deleted. If this chart was removed, what replaces it to ensure consistency across the schools? Parents, teachers, and administrators need clear guidelines so that the same behavior does not result in different consequences depending on the school, grade level, or administrator. Several new discipline codes also need clarification, especially classroom refusal, leaving class without permission, adult confrontation or defiance, physical student dispute, and verbal student disputes. In classrooms, these behaviors involve autism, ADHD, anxiety, trauma, communication needs, elopement behaviors, or unmet IEP and 504 supports. The district needs to clearly explain how staff will distinguish willful misconduct from disability-related behavior, dysregulation, communication, breakdown, or lack of appropriate support. I also want to talk about how the clarity on social media, zero tolerance language. Safety matters, but so does parent notification. Zero tolerance should not mean zero judgment. Finally, I'm asking the board to require a public red line version before final approval, along with discipline data summary and implementation for schools. Please do not approve any major discipline revisions based only on a summary of changes. A code of conduct should protect safety, but it should also protect parent rights, consistency, and students with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, seeing no more, I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back to the board. At this time, can I get a motion to approve as advertised the revisions to the Student Code of Conduct?
I'll move approval.
I have a motion from Ms. Gilhausen. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Ms. Hanson. Any discussion?
What is our time frame if this is not approved tonight?
So you need a student code of conduct going into the next school year, so it would have to be approved. Oh, it's on. Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry. You have to be right on top of it to say it. So you need to have a code of conduct going into the next school year. So if you delayed, it would not be done. I'd make a recommendation to approve the document. If the board chooses to make changes to the document after that, we start the timeline all over again. This document was advertised, under the 28 days, and now 28 days have elapsed. So for a time perspective, should be approved today. If you want to make changes to the document, that's the purview of the board. You can do that, but the timeline starts all over again so that we can start the school year effectively.
So, Mr. Brodsky, can you hear me? I feel like I can't hear myself. I know you and I, over the last year, have had a lot of conversation about the implementation at each level, right? About meetings with kids, about having that kind of cheat sheet for parents to see the most important things first. I'm wondering if you could elaborate on that.
Yes, I think they might have just turned it up.
Hello? Hello?
But yes, the plan would be to teach students those items that are in the code of conduct that rise to the level of teaching. Obviously, you're not going to review every sentence that's in there. And in addition, one of the things that I think are helpful are the charts in the beginning on major events that would occur, which would be things that are in your backpack, as well as dress code, and I forget what the other couple charts were. So I think there was an attempt to make it clearer, easier to understand, and more simplified. But yes, we'll have to teach the code of conduct.
And I think what, some of the concern is it would be the procedural part, right? So when I was a teacher, there wasn't, I guess for each grade level, principals go over what's important, right? And certain people teach the code of conduct. But I do think it's really important, and we have time to think about this. I know as a board, we can make changes whenever we feel deemed necessary. But I think it is really important that we have procedures at each grade level so that teachers know how to approach it depending on the development of the child or the kids in the classroom. The important things should be front-loaded, like having something for parents to look at front-loaded when they come back to school in the fall. I just think we need to make, now it's on. Oh, have you guys been able to hear me? I hope. I just think we do need to, and we've talked about that, have those procedures where each grade level knows what's important, maybe how to approach it. Teachers know their children, they know the level of the classes they're teaching, but I think that guidance needs to come from the district.
Any further discussion?
I want to mention what Lady Patricia Schaefer just brought to our attention about the language. If it's possible for us to provide a student code of conduct in Spanish for Spanish speakers, so they understand exactly what's going on in our schools. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. At this time, we're going to move to, well, hold on. Hold on 1 second, everyone. Okay. Sorry. Technical difficulties over here. Mine wasn't popping up, but it did that time. Okay. All right. At this time, we're going to do the adoption of the consent agenda.
And Madam Chair, I have one request that item C21, the contract for, triple check. Yes. The enterprise fleet management be withdrawn at this time. We'll see it next month.
Yes, sir. All right. So with the request of C21 being withdrawn, we're going to continue with the consent agenda. Is that all the technical verbiage I need to say with that?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move the consent agenda.
I have a motion from Ms. Hanson. Can I get a second?
I'll second. Go ahead.
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Alvaro. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, at this time, we are going to have presentations from the audience. Remember, you get 3 minutes, state your address, and remember our rules for public comment, if you will. Just be respectful. Ms. Kamir, you will be first. Followed by Ms. Kamir, it will be Ms. Sitnar.
Hello, my name is Helena Cormier. My address is 2839 Woodbridge Crossing Court, Green Cove Springs, Florida, 32043. I just want to say personally, thank you again for everything that y'all did this past school year with providing the special busing for Rolling Hills. It was greatly needed because of the bridge and the issues that we had over there on Sandridge. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And the board, the district now has acquired that property. We were officially told as a board member for the Rolling Hill CDD in May, and so now we do still have to move forward. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but we will continue to do everything that we can to work together to bridge this gap and make sure that these kids get to school safe. So thank you.
Up next is Ms. Sitnar. Followed by her will be Christopher Standen. You'll be on deck.
Hello, my name is Jackie Setnar. My name is on file. Good evening, Superintendent and members of the school board. My name is Jackie Setnar. I'm a resident, taxpayer, proud supporter of public education here in Clay County. I am here to speak to a specific item on tonight's agenda that should have everyone in the room deeply alarmed, the personal consent agenda. It looks closely at the documents provided this month's meeting. There are 25 resignations sitting on that list. 25 qualified, dedicated professionals have decided that they can no longer stay in Clay County District schools. This is not just a routine piece of administrative cleanup. It is a blinking red warning sign. We are watching a steady exodus of our district's most valuable asset, our educators. The reason for this trend is no secret. It comes down to compensation. Our teachers love their students, and they love their schools. But love does not pay the mortgage. Love doesn't buy groceries in an economy where the cost of living continues to skyrocket. When educators can cross the county line or drive over a bridge to a neighboring district and make thousands of dollars more for the exact same job, we cannot be surprised when they pack up their classrooms. We are losing competitive edge. We are allowing high quality talent to walk out the door because we are failing to prioritize competitive, equitable teacher pay. And who pays the real price for these 25 resignations? Our kids. And who pays and this is made by the classroom's instability. Each mid-year and end-of-year departure disrupts the momentum of the students' learning. Burnout. Every vacancy means the remaining teachers have to stretch themselves thinner to absorb the extra workload. Loss of excellence. Every departure means the loss of mentorship and institutional knowledge that takes you to replace. Investing in our teachers is the most direct way to invest in our students. We cannot claim to put students first if we continue to put their compensation on the people who teach them last. I urge this board to make a bold, aggressive commitment to increasing teachers' pay in our upcoming budget priorities. We must treat teachers' retention like an emergency. It is. It makes Clay County a district where educators can afford to build their careers, not stepping on stone of other districts or even their careers. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Christopher and Ms. Tanya Darnell, you're on deck.
Good evening, board. It's Christopher Standard. I'm off John Cemetery in Middleburg, Florida. I'm going to bring up an issue that's been in the news lately. A lot of y'all have seen it about our volunteer coach instructors that we need to figure out what materials are being provided by the Clay County school districts on who is doing the background checks for these coaches. Clearly, this guy has had a record before, so someone dropped the ball somewhere and he got under the radar. He was around our students doing God knows what at this point. We would also like to know why he is able to take photos at these matches and games, because according to our rules and regulations, volunteer instructors are not supposed to have cameras and take photos of our students without prior knowledge of the school board and school directors. He should not have been allowed to be even looking at the school, let alone coaching. Something needs to be done. There needs to be thicker background checks. Somebody needs to be held responsible for letting this guy go under the radar. And he's not the only one. Clearly, we have it going on at other schools, Fleming Island, Ridgeview, Clay. Somebody is not doing the correct background checks on these kids or these guys and letting child pedophiles being around our students and our kids, and that is not safe. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Darnell. And up on deck is Ms. Evans.
Good evening. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. My name is Tanya Darnell. I am a resident on Alligator Boulevard in Middleburg. I am a Clay County graduate, lifelong Clay County resident, and most importantly, a mother. I am here tonight because I have serious concerns about student safety and the answers that parents have still not received regarding Mr. DeToro's involvement with students at Wilkinson Junior High. Since this story became public, Clay County School District released a statement saying that Mr. DeToro was never employed by the district, was never approved to serve as a coach, and was registered only as a level 1 volunteer. However, that statement has me asking more questions than I had answers. According to the district's own volunteer guidelines, serving as a volunteer coach requires level 2 status, yet Mr. DeToro was observed by parents participating in practices, attending meets and tournaments, working directly with students, and demonstrating one-on-one wrestling techniques. My question's simple. If he was participating in a coaching role, how come he was only considered a level 1 volunteer? What district policies were followed? If the policies were followed, how can we change these? If they were not followed, who's going to be held accountable for measures to be taken to ensure this never happens again? As parents, we are not asking for special treatment, we want transparency. We are asking for clear answers about how volunteers are classified, who reviews these classifications, and who is responsible for ensuring that district policies are followed. We are asking why wrestling families learn about this situation through the news instead of directly from the district or the school. Parents deserve the opportunity to have conversations with their children when concerns arise. Parents also deserve to have transparencies when an individual who has had direct access to our students is arrested on charges involving exploitation of these same children. We hear a lot about school safety. We hear discussions about gates, cameras, locked doors, visiting procedures, and metal detectors. While those things are very important, school safety is about making sure that the student or the adults who are given access to our students are properly screened, supervised, and operating within district policy. Tonight, I'm asking the board to provide answers. Who determined Mr. DeToro was a level 1 volunteer? What oversight existed to ensure district policies are being followed? And what specific changes will be implemented moving forward to prevent this situation from happening again? As parents, we should never be left wondering whether policies were followed when it comes to the safety of our own children. Thank you.
Ms. Evans. Up next is Justina Kohick on deck.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Broski. My name is Cheyenne Evans. My address is 320 Foxtail, Middleburg, Florida, 32068. I am a Clay County parent, and my son wrestled at Wilkinson Junior High School under volunteer coach Michael DeToro. I am here tonight because this district failed in its most basic legal and moral duty to protect the children entrusted to it, including my own. On April 29, 2026, as most of you know, Michael DeToro was arrested in Operation Checkmate, an undercover sting targeting sexual predators. After that arrest, I reviewed his background myself. If I were to read what I discovered, it would deeply disturb everyone in this board meeting, hopefully. Prior arrests from 2008, 2016, and 2018, each involving misconduct with young boys. These were not hidden, these were not sealed, these were not difficult for me to uncover. Yet somehow Clay County Schools allowed him to volunteer directly with minors. This is not simply disappointing. This is not simply a mistake. This is a foreseeable, preventable breach of the district's duty of care. Whether paid or unpaid, a volunteer is still an adult placed in a position of authority over our children. Volunteers must be screened. They must be cleared. I've done it myself. I'm a level 2. Volunteers must be supervised. None of that happened here. Or if it did, it was done so poorly that a man with multiple prior arrests involving minors was allowed access to our children still. This is not an isolated failure either. In the last decade, multiple wrestling coaches in Clay County, paid and volunteered, have been arrested and or accused under very similar circumstances. When the same failures repeat themselves across years, across schools, and within the same athletic program and county, it's no longer an accident. It is a systemic breakdown. And the district's response only raises more questions. After DeToro's arrest, our principal at Wilkinson was quietly moved to another school. The athletic director has been replaced. And these are not routine staffing adjustments. These are reactive measures taken after failure. They were done without transparency, without an explanation, without accountability. I'm not here to attack. I'm here to insist firmly and respectfully that the district take responsibility for a failure placed our children in harm's way. Before I close, I'm making a formal public record request under the Florida Statute Chapter 119. I'm requesting all background checks conducted for employees, volunteers, coaches, and contractors at Wilkinson Junior High School for the last school year 2025 to 2026. All documents, emails, and communications, screening notes, and internal correspondence related to the approval or the assignment or supervision of Michael DeToro. All communications between Wilkinson Junior High School and the athletic director, district HR, and the district leadership referencing or involving him, and any record showing who reviewed or approved his volunteer clearance. I'm requesting these records in electronic format as well. Please acknowledge this request promptly and provide a reasonable time frame for fulfillment as required by law. Thank you.
Ms. Kohick. Following Ms. Kohick will be Suzanne Anderson.
Good evening. My name is Justina Kohick. My address is 5168 Rainy Avenue South, Orange Park. I'm here tonight as a concerned mother. I'll try not to repeat too much of what's already been said. My children are young, with only one in school, so not directly affected by the county's recent arrest, but could be if policies are not followed by all staff and or made more strict. As a parent, I can only walk my child into class on the first day of school. That's it. He's on his own after that one day. So how did we allow a convicted felon to bypass receiving a level 2 status, which requires a background check to be on multiple campuses with children of all ages? I understand there are new policies in place in the Raptor system, but unfortunately, this did not prevent a convicted felon from being on campus with our children. What is the process for notifying parents that may have children who were affected, violated, groomed, etc. by this man? These parents should be formally notified, offered a counselor to speak with. I understand it is now summer. In fact, 3 arrests dealing with sex crimes against children in Clay County District Schools teachers have been announced since school got out. It's a little disappointing for us as parents. All volunteers should have a background check completed. They should also be required to wear a badge or sticker, just like me as a level 1. Anytime I am on my son's campus, I have to wear it. It has my photo. I hope that changes can be made, whether to staff involved with the breach of safety or change in policies and procedures to protect our children. Thank you.
Suzanne Anderson. Following her will be Ms. Chappelle.
Yes, hello. My name is Suzanne Polio Anderson. My address is 2902 Green Ridge Road, Orange Park, Florida 32073. I'm a parent of 2 children in the CCDS system. My daughter goes to Ridgeview High. I am disgusted at the recent events that have come to light. Hold on, I missed my. This is what happens when you write with a fountain pen. We found out on June 19th that a level 1 volunteer was arrested on April 30th. This was a volunteer that was associated with Iron Forge Wrestling that holds programs at Ridgeview, a volunteer related to an employee at Ridgeview High, somebody who works at Ridgeview High, and an employee who, according to Sunbiz, is the vice president of Iron Forge Wrestling, an employee who will walk the halls with my daughter this next school year. When you look at the timeline of when the arrest was made public, June 19th, CCDS didn't issue a statement until June 22nd. On June 20th, the updated book objections were released by the district that banned 31 books and restricted another 38. It's clear from that where your priorities are to ban books, not predators.
Ms. Chappelle. And Mr. Friedman.
Good evening. My name is Judith Chappelle, and my address is on file. So tonight I am here because there's nothing more important to me than the safety of our children. And as parents, we send our children to school, our sons and daughters to school every day with the reasonable expectation that they're going to be protected. Of course, that trust was shaken when we learned that someone was arrested as a sexual predator that was a volunteer, and that the reasonable background checks were not done. This should be a concern for every parent. Every parent. I actually expected that this room would be packed tonight, so I'm really kind of disappointed that it wasn't. Protection of our children is regardless of any political party, the neighborhood, school assignments, or anything. It is not a partisan issue. It is a moral responsibility. Background checks requirements, screening exists for a reason. It is not an option. It is not bureaucratic obstacles. It is a safeguard designed for preventing individuals like the one that we had from endangering our children. As parents, we deserve answers. How did this happen? What policies were not followed? Who was responsible for ensuring compliance? How did this individual be allowed to have access to our children? Most importantly, what specific changes are needed to implement and ensure that this never happens again? I ask the board, as I know that I've seen it in the news, that you're asking for an investigation to be done. And I have confidence that you will do that. And I'm asking that it is a transparent investigation, that we do get those answers. And I do always thank you for everything that you do to ensure that our children are safe. Thank you.
Mr. Friedman?
Good evening, Bruce Friedman, address on file. 3 weeks ago, your last board meeting, I was forced by circumstances to use some foul language. I would prefer not to have to take advantage of that mechanism for getting rid of inappropriate books. I'm bringing you one challenge this month. It's a book about rescuing monkeys from the jungle. It's in all the schools, K through 12. It doesn't belong in most, if not all of them. I'll let you run the process on that. With regards to avoiding cursing in public, which is my style, there was a challenge made for a book called The Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayron. It has the F word in it a couple of times, and it's in junior high. That's in conflict with your rubric. That's enough for you to proceed on that item. There's another one by the same author, Kaylin Bayron, called The Vanquishers. One sentence from this book: not everybody is just a boy or a girl. Really? You could have your biologists explain that to them. Third book that I'm bringing your attention to, Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. Previously challenged, has the F word, has some drunken kissing, happens to be drunken lesbian kissing if that proves it. It's available in Keystone, which includes junior high. So am I supposed to trust your librarians that haven't demonstrated any reason to trust so far, that they're going to keep a book with the F word away from the kids that are junior high because your rubric demands it? All of this mishmash of too much policy, procedure, statute, law, memorandum, and directive. Where is the buck stops here guy? Where's the guy who won't let the pedophiles touch our kids, who won't put porn in the schools? Where is that entity? I would like to meet them. That's all. Have a great night.
All right, at this time, that concludes public comment. I would like to open before we continue with the rest of our meeting, and I'm going to ask our attorney to stop us if we tread lightly or if we tread too deeply. But I'm going to tell you, I think it's very important that we as board members have conversation. I'm going to fair warn everyone in this room that there is a lot that we can't say, that I want to say. I can promise you, I want to say. You take the filter off of this mama's mouth, and I'm gonna make everybody feel uncomfortable in this room, because I have 2 little girls, and without getting in trouble, there is so much I want to say. But I think it's important that we open this up to discuss among the board, not necessarily details, because we can't do that. I don't want to jeopardize any ending result of this. I want to be very clear on that. But I also want to make it clear where we stand as a board. I think it's very important to hear from your board members, to know that we are not ignoring your cries. So much so that over a year and a half ago, we brought this policy forward and we implemented this policy because we care that much. I personally championed it, and this world is a sick place. I'm going to tell you that right now, and I don't understand why these crimes keep happening. Again, I'm treading lightly. So, and the filter wants to come off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the board if they want to make a comment, they want to make a statement, to do so. If you do not, that's fine as well. We like I said, we have to tread lightly, and I can't emphasize that enough, but I think it's very important that we let the superintendent know the direction that we would like to see this go. If we have thoughts on that, if we don't, that's fine as well. But I think that we need to have open dialogue, whether it's minimal or whatever. But I think there needs to be some kind of dialogue when it comes to these public comments and hearing from these parents. Because I understand. So I'm going to allow one of you to, if any of you want to start. If you don't want to talk, it's fine.
I don't mind.
Okay, Ms. Hanson.
So I taught at Wilkinson for 10 years. I live right over there on John Cemetery Road. I'm not sure if I can be more engaged in trying to follow and talk to people and hear people out. I just want to tell you that I too am a mom of 3 kids and 2 granddaughters in school. What I really want to talk about is when something like this happens, it erodes public trust. You can't just undo it. You can't just think about it a year from now and say, oh, it was just something that happened. I honestly believe that as a board in a district, that we need to work our way back through that eroded public trust. And I was talking this through with my husband today because, you know, not about details of things, but really about this one thing I'm about to say. You know, lack of communication in any situation ruins public trust. Lack of accountability in the eyes of our parents ruins public trust. And so what I would like to see, and I'm going to talk to my fellow board members about this right now, I did speak with Mr. Blocker about this, but I would like for us, and Mr. Blocker did tell me this could be available through the firm that we use, but I would like to have an external person come in to investigate and the district work alongside with them, because it sits wrong sometimes when we investigate ourselves. And it's not that we weren't going to do an honest evaluation. It's just that it is, in my belief, and it does not cost that much, to have someone from the outside looking in also help us identify if there were any failures and what we can do about it as a board. Tightening up policies, tightening up procedures. So I don't know if, when I spoke with Mr. Blocker, I think we would have to have a majority of us that agree that maybe we could bring someone in from outside to help with this investigation. But that's where my heart is. And that's one step, I think, into earning back our public trust.
I would just throw it out that I would think our internal audit committee could review it. That could be another subject matter. But I want to thank everybody that did come forward and talk about it. There's not a person on this board that doesn't want the right thing to do, to be done, and for us to make sure in the HR department that everybody is checked thoroughly. And we don't know all, I don't know all the details, So it's very hard to make any statements until we have all the facts. So that's where I stand.
Okay, audience, okay. Okay, this is your warning, that's at the board, you cannot do that. Please be respectful, I understand that. You cannot do that. Have decorum, that's all I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. I want you to be able to hear your board members out. I get it. I get it. Mr. Alvaro?
Yes, I never been a good speaker per se, but I can definitely let you know that this situation is close to home because my son is one of the wrestlers that was trained in Ridgeview for the last couple of years. So I definitely support Mrs. Sanson's idea of the independent investigation with the support of the district, and also when we get the facts together, whoever is responsible needs to be accountable. That's my decision in this matter.
I don't have a whole lot to add. I completely agree with what's been said. I'm a mom too. I have boys in high school and junior high, so I 100% understand the emotion that surrounds this. And I can tell you it's frustrating that as a board, there's not more that we can do. We set policy and we expect the employees in the district to abide by the policies that we set. And there are mechanisms to ensure that that happens. And when it does not, there are consequences. So I support a complete and thorough investigation and expect that we will have accountability for anybody at fault in failing to protect children in this district.
And I echo that. That's actually one of the things that I think we can all agree on, that we do want a thorough investigation. And with that, that's why there's not a lot that can be said right now, because there's a lot of details that we don't know. We know what the news has said. We know what you guys have said, but we have to look internally, right? So I think Mr. Broski hears the board that we want an internal investigation. We want accountability, and I promise you there will be accountability. When it comes, and I hope sooner rather than later, there will be accountability. And I'm asking that our superintendent can give us an update and or accountability factors before our next, I'm sorry to do this to you, but a timeline. And I know it's hard for investigations to have a timeline, but I think putting all of our time and effort and resources behind this, at least before our next board meeting, to at least update us and hopefully have an ending result so that things can be fixed if there is something that needs to be fixed. But I'm going to say that I know you hear us loud and clear that we have a policy. I would like to know answers as well, and that accountability is done. So if you would like to make a statement.
Yeah, there's no doubt we're all outraged at the situation that's occurred. An investigation has already started and is in process right now through HR and Safety and Security. I'll get with the attorney about the other. I can assure you that accountability will occur once due process happens and all the facts are discovered. You have to substantiate the facts in order so that they stick up in the court of law against anybody. So that's the reason for the delay. In addition, there'll be a complete review of all policy and review to ensure that all of those processes are tightened up. So that's in the process right now, and I look to update the board in the future meeting.
Mr. Broski, when it comes to something like this, it's like it's a universal policy. You have the same, right? It's universal. So when you go through and then you'll update the board, I just wanted people to know that sometimes when we have policies, they're universal. And and looking into that to find out, like the superintendent said, that's what we need to do to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, there's no doubt that a mistake was made. We need to hold the person accountable, but we also need to review the entire process.
Right.
I want to suggest some check and balances when it have to do with volunteers. For example, the school administrator goes then the athletic director, if it's somebody who's teaching the kids in any sports, and then the superintendent, at least 3 people that goes through and make sure that that background check is appropriate for what they're doing.
And, okay, hey, you're gonna have to ask after the meeting. We don't take questions during the meeting. We will be more than happy to answer, okay? I promise you. What I think Mr. Broski is doing right now is assessing all of those things. Great idea. I think that we should follow through with that, and I think that the board will then now, moving forward, oversee the procedure on this policy 100%. So I want all of you to know that we hear you. The district is vigilantly working on this, and the board, this is where the board is at, and I think Mr. Broski understands where the board is at. There has been many conversation leading up to this point, and it is a very, very serious issue. Not that other issues are not serious, but we hear you, and we will get answers. We will. So, thank you all for your time, and if you want to stay after, we'll be more than happy to answer questions, okay? There is no CCEA update from what I understand. Is Miss Diane here with CESFA? No? Okay, so Superintendent, Mr. Broski?
Okay, just a couple quick things to go over that happened recently. One is One Clay Leadership Academy. What One Clay Leadership Academy is, it's a group of teachers that get together. We have over 642 teachers that came. Some of them were first timers. You're talking about 2 days of elementary, 2 days of secondary. Those individuals, one of the things that I learned a long time ago is that you should have many leaders at a school, not just the 2 administrators. You would want to have all of the teachers taking ownership of it. I think that's one of the reasons that we're successful in the classroom, is because we have teachers that are also teacher leaders within the school. We try to foster that environment. That's called One Clay Leadership Academy. Truly is unique to Clay, by the way. If you ask other people, hey, do you have a leadership academy for teachers, and they show up during the summer, their answer would be no, right? So it's a Clay thing, one of the reasons why we're successful. The other is ESE Summit. You know, we have about over 21% of our students are ESE students. So getting together this year, this upcoming year, we're using Peer, which is a new system for IEPs, because Synergy was our old database. Now you're moving to Focus. Peer is used in, I think, 63 out of the 67 districts. It's a fantastic program. The people that have looked at it have all raved about it. ESE Summit, fantastic event. Many, many teachers there giving up their time in order to prepare for the upcoming school year in the ESE realm. 21% of our students is, roughly about 1/5 of our students, 20%. So what we do with those students is of great importance. It really is. And just being married to a ESE professional, I get it all the time. I get it at home, as well as work, and I'm very proud of the work that's done within our ESE department. Some summer reminders: we have our food service program. Remember, you can go to those schools in order to see and get summer meals. They're closed on July 2nd and 3rd, and you can see the schools that are involved. We're heading into knee-deep into the summertime. Don't forget about kindergarten registration. If you haven't registered and you're out there, please do. Don't wait. It helps us with the planning of that, make sure that we're properly staffed with teachers, et cetera, starting the school year. So just a reminder about kindergarten, start of kindergarten. Back to school health and wellness. You can see the Florida Department of Health is at right here in Fleming Island, right down the road there. August 3rd through 7th, 8 to 2, no appointment necessary. for those of you that are in need. Upcoming events, I guess the big one is Independence Day, the 250. I just got to tell you, as an American government teacher, it's a special. I want to thank the social studies folks for the 250 celebration today. And as a district and just as Americans, we should celebrate that. Don't want to put a plug in, but USA soccer team plays tonight. So just later on. I don't know if I'll make it through the time frame, but yes. And then teachers come back August 3rd. Students come back on the 11th. I know for me, as soon as you pass the 4th of July, the Monday after the 4th of July, it's game on when it comes to the new school year starting. And so we're gearing up for it. We're excited about it. I think we had our highest academic performance. Remember, I keep teasing you with that, only because I'm superstitious with DOE. So when they actually release it, I'll let you know. But it looks really good, and I'm very proud of the work that's been done. So with that, I think that's the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Broski. Attorney remarks?
Nothing from the attorney's office tonight. Thank you.
All right, board members, Ms. Gilhausen?
Nothing from me. Hope everybody has a safe and happy 4th of July and enjoy celebrating our country's history.
Mr. Alvaro?
I just wanted to congratulate the teachers that retire this year. I was watching the presentation that some of them spent 40 years with us in Clay County. That's a lifetime, like 2 lifetimes actually. It's awesome to see how people are committed to their duties. Wanted to wish them good luck in the rest of their lives, and God bless them. Also wanted to recognize the good work that social study teachers are doing. It's very important for our country, for our kids to learn what being American is. I'm a witness of that. Also wanted to say thank you to Sean, the student representative. He did a great job, good presentation about the CTE. That was impressive. And wish everybody a good vacation, good summer vacation. Thank you.
Ms. Clark?
Yeah, again, unfortunately, most of them left, but I do want to thank the people that came to speak about the topic that was the biggest concern tonight. Thank goodness some of you stayed around, and I appreciate that. But I think in society, we've got to find out and be proactive instead of reactive to these issues. This is a major concern that we continue to hear about, and I don't believe anything I hear in the news. And when I say investigate, I mean investigate. We don't have all the facts. So anyway, off that topic, we will take care of it. There's nothing any one of us that would do any different on this board regarding that subject. But I do remember celebrating the 200th, not mine, but the 200th anniversary. I was down on Keystone at Lake Geneva for a week. And that's back when we had water in Lake Geneva. And my husband and I had been married for a little bit, and all his siblings, most of them, went down there with us. It was a great time. So it's going to be exciting on the 250th to see how things are different. And I just hope everybody will take a little bit of time to learn about the American Revolution and everything that it took leading up to it, and our struggle until how many years later before England basically allowed us to be free. So thank you, and have a safe summer, please. Thank you.
So there's a couple of things, you get in your 60s, you're getting old, but in your mind you think you're young, right? But it's really, really, when you see at least 12 people up here that I worked with that retired, it makes me feel older than when now I live on a small farm and I can no longer just pick up a 50-pound bag of feed. I find myself dragging it over to the chicken coop. So I know that I'm getting older when you start seeing all your friends, great people. I was so proud to work with the people here in Clay County, and they're just great people, and they'll be sorely missed at their schools. Really, really missed at their schools. And the only other thing I wanted to talk about was, I don't know if everyone knows that the Florida Youth Challenge Academy was shut down. And I happened to have that day off, and I went to their very last graduation. That program rescued over 6,000 kids while it was here. And it was, as a military wife and having a military family, and many of our friends working over at FLICA, I can tell you it's a really, really sad thing that such a great program that was so good for the kids who needed help is gone. So it was a wonderful day at FLICA's last graduation, and I want to thank anybody and everybody who ever helped rescue kids through that program. And I hope you have a blessed summer.
Thank you. I hope everyone enjoys the holiday, that they have a safe holiday, and we really, truly celebrate the meaning of 250 years of America. And thank you for all who have served and continue to serve for our freedoms and everything that America stands for. I can't thank you enough. And to the parents that came tonight, thank you. And I promise this meeting is adjourned.